Welcome to part one of Guide to Invocations of the Insurrection Act in the United States, provided by the Brennan Center of Justice. For each part, I'm going to go over what the guide provides, and then if I feel like I need just a little bit more information, I'm going to do a basic search. Nothing in depth, just a basic search to find out more information about the specific reasoning for invocation. The reason I'm using a basic search instead of what I would usually prefer of an in-depth with sources is because most people don't have the patience to do that. So I want to highlight just an easy way to get information and insight without having to, jump through all the hoops of credible sources and everything, just for base information. Okay, September 25th, 1794, President George Washington in Western Pennsylvania. The very first invocation of the Insurrection Act was because of the Whiskey Rebellion. President George Washington personally led state militia forces into western Pennsylvania to suppress a large revolt sparked by a new federal tax on liquor production. To get a little more information on the Whiskey Rebellion, I did a quick Google search, and I'm going to use Britannica.com because most of the articles are going to be written and fact-checked by the editors of the Encyclopedia Britannica. I grew up with the Encyclopedia Britannica being like the main source to use. Whiskey Rebellion in 1794. In American history, it's an uprising that afforded the new U.S. government its first opportunity to establish federal authority by military means within state boundaries as officials moved into western Pennsylvania to quell an uprising of settlers rebelling against the liquor tax. Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of the Treasury, had proposed the excise, enacted by Congress in 1791, the first national internal revenue tax, to raise money for the national debt and to assert the power of the national government. Small farmers of the backcountry distilled and consumed whiskey, which was easier to transport and sell than the grain that was its source. It was an informal currency, a means of livelihood, and an enlivener of a harsh existence. The distillers resisted the tax by attacking, often tarring and feathering, federal revenue officers who attempted to collect it. It became what appeared to be an organized rebellion, and in July of 1794, about 500 armed men attacked and burned the home of the regional tax inspector after a smaller group had been fended off the previous day. The following month, President George Washington issued a congressionally authorized proclamation ordering the rebels to return home and calling for militia from Pennsylvania and 3 neighboring states, New Jersey, Maryland, and Virginia. After fruitless negotiations, Washington ordered some 13,000 troops into the area, but the opposition melted away and no battle ensued. Troops occupied the region, and some of the rebels were tried, but the 2 convicted of treason were later pardoned by the president. Now, that tax on whiskey that started this whole thing, that was repealed in 1802 by President Thomas Jefferson's administration.